You have been told that financial freedom is the possession of great wealth, that it is the ability to spend without fear, to live without limits, to own without question. But that definition is a counterfeit. True financial freedom is not measured by what you can purchase, it is measured by what can no longer purchase you. It is the quiet mastery of your own mind, the discipline to rule desire rather than serve it, the strength to build wealth that cannot be taken because it is built first within. You may lose money, you may lose opportunity, but if you possess discipline, purpose, and mastery over your emotions, you can rebuild the entire empire of your life from dust. That is freedom to depend on no one but the power of your own directed mind. Let me tell you a truth that few will ever dare to utter. The majority of men are poor not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack mental control. They think in fragments, act in impulses, and drift through life ruled by mood instead of method. The undisciplined mind is like a leaking vault, every emotion a thief, every reaction a hole through which fortune escapes. But the man who commands himself commands wealth. He understands that riches are only the visible shadows of invisible principles. You cannot hold money until you hold mastery. The world will not trust abundance to a mind that cannot govern itself. There is a law as precise as gravity. Inner chaos repels opportunity. Inner order attracts it. When your emotions swing between fear and excitement, the universe reads that instability as danger. It withholds reward from the unstable, for it knows they will destroy what they receive. The calm, deliberate thinker, he becomes a magnet for wealth. Now understand me clearly. Financial freedom does not begin in your bank account, it begins in your consciousness. It is not the result of having, it is the cause of having. To seek freedom outside yourself before establishing order within yourself is to build a palace upon quicksand. So I say to you, before you ask for riches, ask for discipline. Before you pursue opportunity, pursue mastery. Before you chase money, command your mind. For until you can control what you think, you cannot control what you earn. The first great awakening of every successful mind is the realization that wealth is in effect never a cause. And the cause lies entirely within the individual, in his thoughts, his emotional control, his definiteness of purpose. You must decide in the privacy of your own conscience that you will no longer live as a creature of reaction. The undisciplined man is moved by every opinion, wounded by every slight, tempted by every shiny distraction. He builds with one hand and destroys with the other. He earns in one season and wastes in the next. But when you become master of your emotions, when you develop the calmness of steel and the clarity of purpose that cannot be shaken, life bends to your will. Opportunities begin to appear where once you saw obstacles. Resources align. People trust you. Circumstances obey you. Why? Because discipline is power condensed, and power always attracts its own reflection. This is the secret that separates the wealthy from the wandering. Wealth is a mirror, reflecting not luck but law. And the first law is this: you cannot possess what you have not become. There comes a moment in every life when confusion must give way to decision. That moment, invisible to the world but thunderous in the mind, separates the wanderer from the master. It is the moment you declare with finality, I will no longer drift. From that instant, a new law governs you, the law of purpose. Every great fortune, every monumental success, every enduring legacy was born in that decision. A man may inherit money, but he cannot inherit purpose. Purpose must be forged in the fire of consciousness, shaped by vision and hardened by will. Definiteness of purpose is not merely knowing what you want, it is the refusal to want anything else. It is a vow that no distraction, no failure, no delay will seduce you away from your vision. The majority fail not because they lack intelligence, but because they never decided where to direct it. 1,000 desires divided will yield only dust. A single purpose pursued relentlessly will create empires. Purpose is the great concentrator of energy. It gathers every faculty of your mind and focuses it like a magnifying glass concentrates sunlight into flame. Without purpose, life is a blur. With it, life becomes a beam of power capable of burning through the barriers that stop ordinary men. Financial freedom demands this kind of definiteness. You must know not only that you wish to be free, but why and how. The man who wants wealth vaguely will drift endlessly between excitement and despair. But the man who defines wealth as a tool for a specific vision, for independence, for creation, for service, channels his entire being toward it. There is no power in a scattered will. The universe itself bends to definiteness, for definiteness is a reflection of divine order. Nature tolerates no chaos. Every star moves by law, every atom by design. Only man defies structure and pays the price with confusion. So decide now, what does financial freedom mean to you? Is it the ability to serve without fear, to create without compromise, to live without debt, dependency, or apology? Define it so clearly that every thought, every emotion, every action either aligns with it or is dismissed. Because once your purpose is definite, your mind begins to filter reality itself. What once distracted you becomes irrelevant. What once tempted you becomes invisible. You see opportunity where others see obstacles because your mind has become a precision instrument tuned to the frequency of your vision. And from this definiteness flows the second great pillar, self-discipline. If purpose is the architect of wealth, discipline is its builder. Without discipline, even the grandest plan collapses under the weight of inconsistency. Discipline is the iron law of repetition, the daily enforcement of your decision long after emotion has faded. Emotional excitement begins journeys. Discipline completes them. It is the silent force that carries you from inspiration to realization. It is the reason some men finish what others only dream of starting. Discipline is not cruelty. It is respect, respect for your own potential. It is saying, I am worth the effort required to master myself. It is recognizing that every act of self-control deposits unseen capital into the vault of character. Understand this. Your habits are the machinery of destiny. You do not decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits decide your future. The undisciplined man allows the day to rule him. The disciplined man rules the day. The difference between poverty and prosperity often lies in this invisible battle fought in the first hour of morning. Discipline means showing up when comfort whispers to stay still. It means acting on principle, not on preference. It means holding to your plan when the world demands surrender. And it means saying no, not with bitterness, but with mastery to every temptation that would fragment your focus. Do not envy the man of talent. Envy the man of discipline. For talent without discipline is a fire without containment, bright for a moment, destructive thereafter. But discipline, even when slow, is unstoppable. It compounds. Each act of control strengthens the next until mastery becomes second nature. Napoleon Hill said, self-discipline begins with the mastery of your thoughts. If you do not control your thoughts, you cannot control your needs, your actions, your habits, or your destiny. Discipline is the governor of emotion. The man who disciplines his feelings commands his fate. He knows that the market of life rewards not emotion, but execution. Anger ruins judgment, fear ruins opportunity, excitement ruins patience, but discipline refines all three into tools of precision. That brings us to the third foundation, accurate thinking. Financial freedom is not merely the result of effort, it is the result of correct effort. Effort misdirected by emotion is wasted. Accurate thinking separates facts from opinions, truth from illusion, essentials from noise. The undisciplined thinker allows gossip, fear, and emotion to distort his reasoning. The disciplined thinker tests every idea against principle. He asks, what are the facts? What law governs this situation? What remains true when all opinion is removed? Accurate thinking is not cynicism, it is clarity. It allows you to see the world as it is, not as your moods paint it. It demands that you filter emotion before conclusion and confirmation before belief. It requires the humility to admit ignorance and the courage to pursue truth anyway. In wealth building, accurate thinking is everything. It is what prevents the man of ambition from becoming the fool of speculation. It keeps you from being deceived by easy promises, false urgency, and emotional hype. But accurate thinking cannot exist without discipline, and discipline cannot endure without purpose. These pillars are not separate, they are one structure. From accurate thinking flows the fourth, mastery over emotion. Emotion is energy. Properly directed, it fuels creation. Uncontrolled, it destroys it. The man who reacts loses. The man who responds wins. Reaction is slavery, response is freedom. Financial freedom requires emotional freedom. You must detach yourself from the highs and lows of gain and loss. Never let a victory inflate you or a setback deflate you. View both with the calmness of an investor in life itself. The market, the world, your circumstances, all will fluctuate. But if your mind remains steady, your fortune remains inevitable. The wise do not panic in downturns nor gloat in upswings. They think, adapt, and continue. Detach not from passion, but from turbulence. Feel deeply, but never let feeling dictate direction. The calm mind is the mind of dominion. And yet, all these pillars rest upon a final truth, the fifth and greatest foundation: persistence with faith. Without persistence, purpose fades. Without faith, persistence exhausts. Together, they transform effort into destiny. Persistence is the art of continuing intelligently, not blindly through resistance. Every great fortune has passed through seasons of drought. Every master of success has walked through nights of silence. But the disciplined man persists, not because of emotion, but because of law. He knows that consistent cause must produce inevitable effect. Faith is the companion of that persistence, not a passive belief, but a deliberate conviction that the invisible will become visible through disciplined thought. Faith gives persistence its light. Persistence gives faith its proof. To persist with faith is to declare, I will hold to my purpose until the universe rearranges itself around my will. This is the creed of the master. This is the code of freedom. The world bends itself before the individual who can hold an unwavering state of inner calm while everyone else trembles. That calmness is not an inherited temperament. It is a trained command over emotion. The man who governs himself under pressure is already rich, even before the gold appears in his hands, for he possesses the rarest currency, self-possession. Every act of mastery begins with this invisible economy. Your thoughts are the investments, your emotions, the fluctuating market, your will, the governing bank that stabilizes both. When the average mind panics, it sells its confidence at a loss. The disciplined mind holds, waits, and gains. The markets of life always rise again for the one who refuses to sell his peace. To achieve financial freedom is to become the still axis around which the storms of circumstance revolve. It is not what you earn that makes you free, but what cannot disturb you while you earn it. Money expands the temperament of its owner. It magnifies discipline into empire and multiplies chaos into ruin. That is why wealth without self-control is a curse disguised as blessing. The individual who disciplines thought understands a higher law, that everything external mirrors the internal. Order your mind, and wealth becomes predictable. Disorder it, and no plan, no strategy, no partnership can save you. The subconscious mind is a silent accountant. It records every impulse, every indulgence, and tallies them against your fortune. You may deceive the world, but never the laws that bind cause and effect. You must therefore establish emotional detachment as a permanent state of being, not as coldness, but as clarity. Detachment is the mind's immune system. It prevents infection by panic, greed, and envy. When you are detached, you remain free to choose. When you are attached, you are owned by what you desire. This is the paradox. The man who clings to wealth repels it. The man who respects it yet remains unbound by it, attracts it continuously. Wealth gravitates towards stability, just as rivers seek the sea. Detachment is not a lack of care. It is care without dependence. It is the ability to engage without enslavement, to build without becoming possessed by the structure. Consider for a moment how few truly live by design. Most drift from impulse to impulse, enslaved by moods disguised as decisions. They buy because others buy, sell because others fear, speak because silence would reveal their emptiness. They are emotional traders, selling reason for the price of momentary pleasure. But the architect of financial freedom knows this: every emotion is a potential servant or a potential thief. Anger, when governed, becomes courage. Desire, when disciplined, becomes drive. Fear, when examined, becomes foresight. The master converts all emotion into structure. The drifter lets emotion dissolve structure. Do not seek to destroy emotion. Seek to train it. Harness it as an engine beneath your command. There is no greatness without passion, but there is no stability without control. The river that floods destroys, the river that flows within its banks nourishes. And now we return to the secret under all secrets. The mind responds only to command. You are both the commander and the commanded. If you do not give yourself clear orders, you will obey confusion. Autosuggestion, the daily discipline of intentional thought, is how you write the script your subconscious will follow. The undisciplined thinker allows accident to program his mind. The master writes deliberate instructions. If you repeat chaos, you manifest it. If you repeat calm, you live it. Words are seeds, and the soil of your subconscious is always fertile. Speak to yourself as a ruler addresses his army with clarity, conviction, and authority. Say to yourself, my mind is mine. My emotions serve me. My will commands my future. Repeat it not as a ritual, but as a decree. You are training the most powerful force in existence, your belief. Wealth begins as faith projected through disciplined thought. The man who doubts himself poisons his own soil. The man who affirms his control over thought plants an unshakable tree. The subconscious does not distinguish truth from lie. It manifests what you persistently impress. Therefore, never speak of limitation. Never rehearse defeat. The mind multiplies what it is told. When you control thought, you no longer depend on luck. Luck is the child of alignment between the seen and unseen, the outer world conforming to the pattern you hold within. And yet, mastery demands more than mental clarity. It requires moral order. Financial freedom is sustained only by integrity. Deception, shortcuts, and greed may yield momentary gain, but they corrode the inner foundation that attracts lasting wealth. You cannot cheat the laws that govern prosperity. Every dishonest act creates mental dissonance, a fracture in the structure of self-respect, and self-respect is the currency of authority. Lose it, and you lose the confidence that magnetizes opportunity. Honesty is more than virtue, it is strategy. It simplifies decision, clears conscience, and protects focus. Integrity is the shortest path to wealth because it eliminates resistance. A divided mind cannot create abundance. Only a unified one can. To live in discipline is to live in peace. To live in peace is to think with clarity. To think with clarity is to act with precision. And to act with precision is to build wealth that endures. The lazy seek shortcuts. The wise build systems. The lazy react to reward. The wise respond to law. Every morning you are presented with the same question. Will I serve impulse or will I serve purpose? Every answer compounds. 10 years of impulse produces ruin. 10 years of purpose produces freedom. The future is built one disciplined decision at a time. Now consider the subtle art of mental endurance. Many begin with enthusiasm. Few endure with consistency. The disciplined mind treats repetition not as boredom, but as refinement. Each act of persistence sharpens precision. Each day of consistency builds confidence. Endurance is the test of authenticity. You will know you are truly committed when monotony no longer discourages you. The weak need variety to feel alive. The strong find vitality in mastery. They do not seek constant excitement, they seek constant evolution. And this finally brings us to the rarest truth. The ultimate goal of financial freedom is not accumulation, but elevation. You seek money not to escape work, but to refine work, to buy time for purpose, space for thought, and freedom for creation. Freedom is not leisure, it is leverage. It is the ability to live by design rather than demand. It is the state in which money obeys you, not defines you. So let me tell you what few dare to say. If you wish to be free, discipline yourself to earn more than you spend. Think before you react, and act before you excuse. Detach from comfort long enough to build capacity. Detach from vanity long enough to build value. Detach from emotion long enough to build empire. Because the final law of prosperity is brutal and beautiful. The undisciplined eventually serve the disciplined. Those who cannot master emotion will always work for those who have. And that, my friend, is the true hierarchy of life. Freedom is not granted. It is earned through command of the unseen self. The man who masters his inner world possesses the only power that cannot be taken, taxed, or terminated. To control the external, you must first dominate the internal. The undisciplined seek liberty by changing conditions. The disciplined achieve it by changing consciousness. The untrained mind rebels against responsibility because responsibility reveals weakness. But the mature mind embraces it because responsibility is the birthplace of strength. The weak man prays for easier circumstances. The wise man prays for greater capacity. He does not ask the storm to calm. He learns to steer through it. Financial freedom, in its truest form, is psychological independence. It is the ability to remain unmoved by approval or rejection, by gain or loss. It is to be inwardly self-sustaining, drawing stability, not from what you possess, but from who you are. The one who depends on emotion for direction is a servant to whatever stirs it, but the one who commands emotion through reason becomes the architect of destiny. The world belongs to those who act from principle, not impulse. Emotion makes good servants but terrible masters. You must therefore train your mind to obey logic while your heart fuels purpose. This fusion of feeling and thought creates genius passion guided by precision. Every successful individual has undergone this silent training to stand calm amid provocation, patient amid pressure, confident amid confusion. When you remain unmoved while others tremble, opportunity reveals itself to you. Fortune hides from the frantic, but bows to the composed. The secret of all influence lies in vibration. Emotion is vibration. The chaotic mind emits discord and repels cooperation. The ordered mind radiates authority and attracts harmony. When your inner rhythm is steady, all that resonates with order gravitates toward you. This is not mysticism, it is mental mathematics. The frequency you maintain becomes the pattern your reality follows. The disciplined mind no longer wastes energy on conflict or comparison. It moves like a river, not a storm constant, deep, unstoppable. When others spend their strength in reaction, you conserve yours in creation. Reaction is consumption. Response is investment. In every test of life, the difference between victory and defeat is composure. The calm mind sees patterns where panic sees threats. The calm mind acts while the frantic one freezes. The calm mind creates wealth because it notices what emotion hides. So let this truth take root. Emotional detachment is not indifference. It is intelligence in motion. It is the ability to see clearly when others are blinded by feeling. It is the power to move strategically when others move impulsively. The great investor does not panic when markets fall. He studies, he learns, he acts in proportion. The great leader does not crumble under criticism. He listens, he filters, he decides. The great builder does not despair in failure. He measures, he adjusts, he begins again. Detachment allows focus, and focus births fortune. In this way, the road to financial freedom is paved with calmness. Calmness is confidence under pressure. It is the silent declaration, I am greater than circumstance. But calmness alone is not enough. It must be married to courage. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to obey it. It is the disciplined application of faith when sight fails. Faith is the unseen capital of the mind. When reason exhausts its data, faith extends the calculation. Faith whispers to the disciplined, continue. The undisciplined man quits because he trusts feelings. The disciplined man endures because he trusts law. You cannot build an empire in one season, but you can build momentum every day. Success does not rush, it compounds. Discipline is compound interest applied to thought. Every act of control strengthens capacity. Every calm response multiplies stability. Every moment of patience earns unseen dividends. You may not see progress daily, but the universe does. It watches your consistency, measures your vibration, and responds accordingly. When it knows you can hold wealth without worshiping it, it sends it freely. To reach such mastery, you must confront your inner resistance, laziness, doubt, distraction. These are the thieves of destiny. They disguise themselves as comfort, but their true aim is decay. The disciplined mind recognizes their presence and responds not with guilt, but with structure. Guilt wastes energy, structure redirects it. Replace indulgence with schedule, reaction with reflection, escapism with execution. Each substitution reclaims power from chaos. And remember this law: Every time you do what you said you would do, you increase self-trust. Self-trust is the root of all confidence. The man who cannot trust himself cannot expect the world to trust him. Therefore, make your words sacred to yourself, above all. Promise less, deliver more. Speak only what you intend to fulfill. Integrity is the highest currency of the subconscious. When you keep your word, the deeper mind believes in you, and what it believes, it creates. Financial freedom is the outward echo of inner integrity. You cannot attract abundance while betraying your own command. You may deceive others, but you cannot lie to your own mind. Every broken promise lowers self-esteem. Every completed one compounds it. The rich in spirit are those who have paid themselves with reliability. Soon you will realize that wealth is not accumulation, but acceleration. Money moves toward order, not chaos. The disciplined are those through whom energy flows without friction. They have no leaks of distraction, no waste of emotion, no conflict of purpose. And when you live in that order, freedom ceases to be a goal. It becomes your natural state. At that level, you will no longer chase opportunity. Opportunity will chase you. You will no longer need to impress others. Your presence will speak louder than persuasion. You will no longer need to prove worth. Your results will testify for you. You will know you have arrived when peace becomes the atmosphere of your work, when wealth no longer excites or frightens you, when success no longer surprises you. For then, you are no longer reacting to life, you are directing it. That is the summit of mastery. To be at peace while expanding, to be still while powerful, to be detached while deeply engaged. Financial freedom, in its final definition, is spiritual alignment expressed through material command. It is the meeting of heaven and earth within the disciplined soul. And so, as Napoleon Hill once declared, until you learn to control your own mind, you will never control anything else. Now you understand what that truly means. Guard your thought as a monarch guards his crown. Direct your emotion as a general directs his army. Command your purpose as a creator commands creation itself. Do this relentlessly. Do it without applause, without permission, without distraction. The world may not understand you, but it will eventually follow you. Because the man who rules himself cannot be ruled by anything. And the man who cannot be ruled is free. There comes a point in the evolution of every disciplined soul when the quiet power within can no longer be contained. It begins as a whisper in the mind, a thought of certainty, a calm knowing that no external force can dictate the course of your destiny. That whisper becomes a pulse, and that pulse becomes fire, a fire not of rage, but of realization. You awaken one morning and the old you is gone. The fear that once paralyzed you now obeys you. The doubts that once shouted now fall silent before the throne of your will. You have crossed the invisible line that separates those who wish from those who decide. The moment of mastery is not loud. It is the quiet explosion of awareness that your mind, your emotion, your purpose, and your power are now one. You are no longer a participant in chaos, you are the conductor of it. From this state, every decision becomes sharp as lightning. Every word becomes command. Every action becomes law. Life bends not because you beg it to, but because you embody the very principles that govern it. Discipline, once struggle, is now instinct. Detachment, once effort, is now freedom. Purpose, once distant, is now your pulse. And in that realization, wealth becomes inevitable, because wealth is nothing but the material echo of inner power. It is life's applause for those who live in harmony with law. It is the reflection of order meeting opportunity. Hear me. The undisciplined will forever chase fortune. The disciplined will forever attract it. The undisciplined fight circumstance. The disciplined shape it. The undisciplined are enslaved by emotion. The disciplined use emotion as fuel. This is the unspoken hierarchy of power. Those who control themselves command the world. Now the air itself seems to listen. Every breath is deliberate, every step precise, every moment sacred. You begin to move as if in rhythm with something eternal. For you have become what all philosophy points toward, a man in conscious partnership with law. No longer a victim of time, you have become its sculptor. No longer tossed by moods, you generate momentum. No longer praying for miracles, you perform them through mastery of cause. You understand now that detachment does not strip life of feeling, it refines it. When you are no longer addicted to results, your work becomes art. When you are no longer driven by fear, your ambition becomes pure. When you no longer depend on approval, your vision becomes divine. This is what the ancient masters called sovereignty, not political power, but personal dominion. It is the state where thought becomes law and emotion becomes servant. And this power has a fragrance. It is calm confidence. It needs no announcement, no aggression. The world senses it, doors open, crowds quiet, opportunities present themselves in silence. You have become the rarest kind of human being, the one who rules himself without cruelty, who leads others without pride, who commands success without arrogance. This is the true purpose of wealth, not possession, but expression. To turn potential into form, to turn law into legacy. To build not to boast, but to bear witness that mind is greater than matter, will greater than circumstance, and spirit greater than fear. For too long, men have worshipped wealth as God and treated discipline as burden. But the wise know that discipline is the god of wealth. It is the unseen intelligence that guides every lasting empire. You are now that intelligence in motion. And as you move, the universe moves with you. You no longer wonder if success will come. You wonder how vast it can become. You no longer hope for opportunity, you generate it. You no longer chase freedom, you embody it. This is the explosive threshold where man becomes creator, where belief becomes blueprint, where command becomes creation. It is here that you finally grasp the ultimate truth. Freedom is not the reward of discipline, it is discipline perfected. And in that moment of understanding, every chain shatters. You rise, you breathe deeper, you speak slower. You look upon the world not as something to conquer, but as something already conquered within. Money becomes a tool. Work becomes worship. Time becomes an ally. The mind, once your master, now stands ready to serve. The fire of ambition burns without consuming. The calm of mastery flows without fading. The wealth you build no longer defines you, it reflects you. You have become the living law, cause embodied, command personified. And as your mind radiates this authority, the world rearranges itself around your presence. You will find that people listen differently, that opportunities unfold naturally, that resistance dissolves before persistence. You have ceased to live in hope. You now live in certainty. And that, my friend, is the apex of financial freedom, not the possession of wealth, but the possession of self. Because when you own yourself completely, your thoughts, your time, your focus, your discipline, there is nothing left that can own you. That is the final emancipation. And so, in the silence between your thoughts, listen. You can almost hear the echo of the truth that has guided every great mind since time began. If you control your mind, you control your world. If you control your world, you control your destiny. Therefore, command your mind. Be the ruler of your emotion, not its prisoner. Be the architect of your purpose, not its servant. Be the sovereign of your destiny, not its spectator. Let every thought be deliberate, every emotion disciplined, every action divine. And as you live this law, the world will kneel not to you, but to the principle within you. For you have become the rarest creation under heaven, a human being who has mastered himself, and he who has mastered himself has mastered all.